Are you ready to branch out, to take a leap of faith, to love yourself and others fully? Then let go of whatever no longer serves you to take action now on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, and letting it go. Erica will energize and excite you to power up your passionate dream that sets your soul on fire. With Erica's E3 approach, equipping, empowering, and enlightening yourself so you can be yourself for yourself. Get ready and get rooted to live a life without regrets, without what ifs, without should haves, and especially without empty feelings from a life unexplored. This hit show helps you build powerful and intentional roots to live it up, love it up, and let it go. Get fearlessly ready and powerfully rooted in your yes with your host, Erica Gifford Mills, and be fearless about your more and stand in your yes. Now on Get Rooted Radio.
Welcome, everyone. I am Erica Gifford Mills, and you are listening to Get Rooted Radio, living it up, loving it up, letting it go, right here on Transformation Talk Revolution. I shout out to my producer today, Emily. How are you doing? I am doing awesome. I'm just coming off of the inaugural International Women's Speaker Summit event in Phoenix, Arizona. And so I am kind of both living on a high and exhausted all at the same time. So I'm doing good, which I think is why I'm excited about today's episode, which is entitled Embracing the Dao of Qi. And in this episode, I'll be speaking with Dr. Cooke, who is amazing, right? You're going to hear so much about him. I've had the experience of meeting him not only professionally, but also personally and taking his 12-week course. So you will hear about that a little bit later on in the episode. But we're going to be talking about how we can embrace the way of working with life force energy in our lives, or in other words, the Dao of Qi. Dr. Cooke will explain how we can journey through a path of healing, self-transformation, and energetic optimization when we learn how to work with energy. He will inform all of us of his qigong practice and the profound impact it had on him as a highly successful entrepreneur. And he will guide us through his own personal journey of healing, transformation, and optimization to serve as an example for others to follow. A bit more about Dr. Cooke. He is a successful entrepreneur who had the foresight to start a digital-first company long before digital-first, digital transformation, or other buzzwords of today were created. With extremely limited resources of $1,300 and a computer, he started RhythmNet.com. And over the years of struggle and adaptation, Rhythm was sold to a world-class digital creative agency in 2019. Craig stayed with the company for over 3 years, completing a 26-year marathon of running the company as CEO, working with middle market to large enterprise companies. Today, Craig shares his business wisdom, experience, and expertise as a mentor, author, speaker, and doctor of Chinese energetic medicine. Through his service as a practitioner of Chinese medical qigong since 2015, he has provided energy healing to hundreds of people. He has a doctorate degree of Chinese energetic medicine from the Temple of Change and Transformation, and he incorporates his skills, knowledge, and expertise into everything he does, into the world of business, to provide a truly unique perspective and method in working with professionals across a wide variety of industries. Craig's 3 pillars of mindset, mastery, and energetics guides people through the 5 elements of success framework to live an inspired and empowered journey in the business and in personal life. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Craig.
Yeah, thanks, Erica. I'm really happy to be here. It's great to see you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great to see all the great work you're doing. You're doing amazing things. So it's super cool to be here with you today.
Well, thank you so much. So during this first segment, we're going to talk about where this all began, because you still are a very successful entrepreneur in the business world. And then you made a kind of a big leap. So tell us about your background, where it started with Kung Fu, business, and Qigong.
Sure. So from a business perspective, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. I started working in my mother's restaurant when I was 10 years old, washing dishes. Not every night, but, a couple nights a week, and then when I was 13, I became a busboy, a few nights a week. And then at 16, a waiter. working more. And then my parents also had a small fire sprinkler construction company, design, install, and maintain automatic fire sprinkler systems. So I'd work in the shop, cutting and fabricating pipe, and then sometimes going out in the field. Um, so I was going back and forth between that job and the restaurant job. And they had a certain level of success for a bit, but then there was a depression in the early '90s that hit the Southern California region and other places, and it was pretty bad for them. So it was an interesting journey to see that. But that was my uh, my experience of the world of entrepreneurship, and I knew pretty much when I was probably like 18 that I wanted to be in business for self. Wasn't sure what at the time, but that's was the first impetus to that. And then I started my own company at the age of 25. But before that, at the age of 17 is when I started studying Chinese Kung Fu. And that was a big transformation for me. Just got me on a solid direction in life, just from a positive standpoint with health and wellness and just mindset, just a positive life direction. Because at the time it wasn't so much. I was having a little too much fun. Uh, and Fast forward to 1996, when I started my company at the age of 25, I started applying the principles I learned from Chinese Kung Fu into setting up and modeling and running my company, which we can, get into. But that is, the background from way back then. And of course, it evolved over time.
So Kung Fu, right? You have a book.
Yes.
So before we get into that, but what made you want to start a business? I mean, I know you had that all kind of in your family tree, so to speak, but what made you want to branch out and work on your own and really do all this before it became really a thing?
Yeah, great question. I would say ultimately it was the pursuit of freedom, just being able to create my own destiny, to be at least think I'm in control of that, and work towards that so that I could have eventually freedom of time, the ability to um, be free from say a survival mode
Yeah. Yeah.
lifestyle. Yeah.
Now, your book, it wraps up your love of Kung Fu,
Mhm.
right? And just all that. But why that? Why, give us a little background and tell us about that book.
Yeah, so actually my first passion in life was books. As soon as I was able to read, I always had a book in front of my face. And when I was probably around 17, I thought, hey, one day I'd like to write a book, but didn't know what. And I was an avid reader all through my teenage years and into adulthood. And these days it's a little tough with all our distractions and everything that's going on. And but I still love to read when I can make the time. But yeah, it was my first passion. So fast forward up to the year 2011, the concept just kind of hit me. Like, man, I should really think about writing a book. I have all this experience. Oh, business kung fu. It just like was this inspired moment that hit me. I said, of course, yeah, I just got to tell my story, in this unique way. And it just took me quite a while. It took me 12 years to get it done, but hey, I got it done and it's out there.
Wonderful. And so so what are some of the lessons that you teach in that book?
Yeah. So with martial arts, it all starts with building a foundation. If think of it like a construction project, like whether it's a residential home or a large skyscraper, there needs to be a foundation that's set. Otherwise, the structure is going to crumble, right? So it's the same thing in martial arts where I had to build a foundation. You just don't step in and start fighting. It's ridiculous. You have to build a foundation of stances and punches and blocks and kicks and footwork, stepping, all kinds of different things, and build that solid foundation before you get to that next level of sparring and playing. We call it play.
Yep.
Play with people. And that was the same thing with business. You have to set a foundation of your business, and that also goes for your own personal skill set. As far as writing ability, communication ability with writing, speaking, Also some at least basic accounting skills, right?
Mhm.
Organizational skills, project management skills. There's all kinds of different skills that come into play that as an entrepreneur, being your own boss, your own business, that you need to be versed in a multidisciplinary manner and have a solid foundation that you can then build upon. So that's like one of the concepts.
Yeah. And I love that because as you know, I'm a taekwondo.
Yes.
Yes, and it is about that foundation, right? You just as in you start from a white belt and you learn the basic one, then you go up and you're learning and everything's building on one another. You don't just
Yes.
start out on doing jumping roundhouse kicks, or
Yeah.
you start with your basic roundhouse kick, then you start with your hopping roundhouse kick, and then you get into your jumping, and then you get into your 360, which I was never very good at, but yes, it's all about building on that foundation, which is just what is also what we need in our business. You can't just jump right in and think you're going to be where somebody's at 10 years ahead
That's
of you,
right.
right?
That's right.
And that's why I always like to say, don't compare yourself to other people because you don't know how long their journey is. And we have to make sure that we are understanding where are we at and where is somebody else at. So in the business of Kung Fu, I've read it. It's great. It's awesome. So people, you
Thank
need
you.
you need to get it, especially if you have any interest in kind of the different what word am I looking for? The different ways that we can compare what we want to do personally and training and all that to our professional business
Yeah.
world.
Right.
So before we go to break, tell me a lesson that you've learned early on as you were building your business.
Yeah. So one thing that comes to mind is is interesting. It's great to have focus,
Mhm.
but if you're too laser focused, you can miss opportunities that come about. So, for example, early on, like the first year, there was a particular vendor I had and could have been a great referral source for customers and building websites. But it was outside. It was like, he could refer businesses to us, but we were so focused on this music market, independent music market, and this concept and idea that it's like, oh, thanks, but no thanks, because we're really focused on this. And that was a missed opportunity because that could have really helped fund us quite a bit, especially in those days. So it's great to have focus. You have to have focus, but I like to kind of say it's good to have, say, an 80% focus and then have a 20% peripheral vision so you can be aware of opportunities that surround you so that you can recognize it and jump on those when it's appropriate.
Yeah, have that strategic viewpoint. Don't
Yeah.
get always lost in the weeds and lost in the details. Yes,
Yeah.
those details are important, but you have to have that 5,000
Mhm.
foot view.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. As one of my primary martial arts instructor today, his concept is the bird's eye view and then the
Mm.
ant's view. Like the ant
Yes.
is like so like it's micro, small and detailed right in there, right? And then you
Yep.
have the bird's eye view, which is vast.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about overcoming challenges. But before we do, Craig, tell folks how they can connect with you.
Okay, great. People can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for Craig Cooke. It's linkedin.com/in/Craig Cooke. And there's an E at the end of Cook. And then also my website, craigcooke.com.
Wonderful. You are listening to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Imagine having a team of top-notch attorneys and identity protection experts right at your fingertips 24/7. That's the power of Legal Shield and ID Shield. Legal Shield gives you access to affordable legal services for everything from contracts to traffic tickets. And ID Shield protects your personal information and it's monitored against identity theft with restoration support if anything goes wrong. Visit the link in the show notes of this episode for more information.
Rethinking your purpose in life? Become a certified hypnotherapist and regressionist today. Bryn Blankenship is a renowned certified master hypnotherapist, international instructor, and author. In addition to her own show, Afterlife Teacher, Soul Lessons Bringing You Full Circle, Bryn is a popular radio show guest who speaks about her soul expression spiritual regression, her transformative method for finding and following your soul's guidance. For more information on her hypnoregression and afterlife regression certification programs, visit brynblankenship.com.
What if your training isn't enough? The Multicultural Mindset Podcast invites counselors and therapists to unlearn the one-size-fits-all approach. This isn't cultural competence. It's a way of being that brings racialized experiences from the margins to the very center of care. Let's stop pathologizing Black pain and start challenging the system that created the bias in the first place. Visit newseasons.training to subscribe.
We remember a time when you could simply form a thought and it would manifest. The harmony was forgotten, but it is returning now. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia will take you on adventures through the heart and spirit, exploring who we once were and how to awaken that power today. Julia studied under the guidance of wolves, learning from their wisdom to master a higher frequency for new state of mind. Learn to master the secrets of manifestation. Visit onetrueself.com.
If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or in grief, I'm here to help. I'm Faye Lau, intuitive healer and founder of Faye Inspired Healing. Through soul-guided sessions, I help you reconnect with your body's wisdom and inner truth. Whether you're healing from loss, letting go of pain, or rising into elevated energies, my work combines energy clearing, grief support, and spiritual coaching. Schedule a session or learn more at fayeinspiredhealing.com.
Welcome back to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. If you missed any portion of today's episode, you can catch it on getrootedradio.com. Don't forget to subscribe online to receive the latest news, events, specials, and words of encouragement. Go to getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Dr. Craig Cooke. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you. I'm having fun. Again, it's great to see you.
Yes, you as well. So when we first started talking, we were kind of going through your journey, right? How did it all begin? How did you go from entrepreneur, businessman to what you're doing today? And during this segment, we're going to talk about overcoming challenges, because in life, we all face business, personal, professional challenges. So can you share with our listeners, what were some of the biggest business challenges you faced, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah. So there's business challenges and personal challenges, right? So
that's going to be my next question.
Yes, very good. Yeah. I guess there's always both of those, right? And but the business challenges, there's so many different challenges. But I would say, as opposed to say one particular challenge moment, there's kind of like a challenge period. And one that I'd like to bring up is in 2012, we started to hit like a really solid growth stride. It was our first year landing on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing private companies. So this big challenge was, how do we keep scaling, growing at this pace, but remaining profitable at the same time? And we were able to land on that list 5 years in a row, which only 7% of companies actually achieve that, according to that Inc. organization, which was great. And we even won Best Places to Work 4 years in a row during that same time period, which is really tough to keep people happy and a strong culture as you're scaling that fast. And then remaining profitable, we hit some road bumps along the way there. And some months were pretty tough, and it was a couple periods where we had to do some layoffs, which was really tough. That was something that was really hard. So I think that course of time, that was super challenging to stay profitable and continue growing. But we were able to achieve it really well, because that's what set us up to be able to sell the company just like a couple of years later in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how about personally, right? What were some of those biggest personal challenges that you faced?
Yeah. So personally, there's a bunch. There's all kinds of challenges as an entrepreneur that you go through. And one of these I like to tie to my success framework that's in my book, The Five Elements of Success, with those being passion, discipline, expertise, confidence, and faith. And the element of faith was challenged a number of times, and where I was close to quitting a number of times. Uh, and I remember this one moment in particular. I share this in my book. Somewhere around 1998, 99, somewhere around there, 3 or 4 years into the business. And I'm by myself working late at night. It's probably like 12:30 in the morning or something like that. It's super cold in the office I was in. Just a long story, but it was super cold. Just it's the way the environment was, and all bundled up. And I was just thinking, what am I doing? Am I crazy? Am I just stupid? Because I was just spinning wheels, really wasn't getting any traction, not making much money at all, and just really struggling. And at the time, I was probably like 28, 29 at the time, and I had a bunch of friends making good money in their careers, and they're flourishing, where I'm not. And I'm just like, what am I doing? Am I stupid? Am I crazy? And I just got this really distraught feeling, and I was literally seconds away from quitting, just saying, that's it, I'm done. Getting up, walking out and just saying, that's it, I'm done. But suddenly I felt compelled to check my email. And this was a moment of divine guidance, which I firmly believe in. And I get this email that says, thank you. And it was from one of my vendors, a hosting provider. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I look at it, and it's from the owner of the company. And he starts talking about how he was struggling in his business for so long, and he was very close to quitting, but he stuck with it. And he was announcing that he just sold his company, and he was thanking all his customers like myself, contributing to his success. And it was a really neat email, and the way it was worded it was the exact message I needed at that exact moment. And like I read that, and I was like, I kind of leaned back in my chair, and I was like blown away. I was like, wow, that's interesting. And I was like processing that. I said, all right, I'm going to go home. I just was processing that. And, I woke up the next day and I had a renewed sense of hope, and never looked back since then. Yeah.
And I think that you made a really interesting observation and an extremely powerful point. You never know how close you are to achieving, right? And I wish I could find that. There was this meme, like you're like digging a hole and you're underground, and you quit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize you were literally 2 feet from being there.
Yeah, that's right. There's even a book called 3 Feet from Gold that's just about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's where, sometimes you can take a break, but not quit, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a breather. Sometimes you just need to go, okay, right? Because I know in doing this, my first big event, like I did this past weekend, I was like, oh, this is not going to work. Like, oh my gosh, like maybe I should have just not done this. Maybe I should have just put it off. And then I was like, no, like this first event is never going to be perfect. I mean, no event is ever perfect, right? I mean, things always happen.
Yes.
And when I look back, I'm like, I learned so much. And for me, that was an accomplishment because I learned so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did things go not exactly how I planned along the way? Yeah. But things never do, right? But I learned from them. So even though it might have not worked, like I wanted to do this. Oh, yep, that's not going to work. I learned. And for me, that is a victory. If I wouldn't have taken a step back and just said, what did I learn from this? Then you can see it as a failure. And life's going to bring you challenges. It's going to bring you challenges personally, professionally, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. We need to look at those challenges as how can I learn from this so I can maybe prevent it from happening again? Or if I'm faced with it again, I know how to handle it.
100%, 100%. And what you said earlier about rather than quitting, um, learning, right? Another way I like to put it is like rather than quitting, you just adapt, right?
Yep.
You learn and adapt. It doesn't mean that you need to just keep doing the same thing and not getting any results. That's insane, right? That
Yeah.
definition of insanity. But it doesn't mean you just quit. You just gotta
Mhm.
pivot. You change. You adapt. You learn and you adapt.
Adapt, overcome.
Yes, right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, well, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the new chapter. But before we go, Craig, tell folks how they can connect with you. And also, you have something for our listeners and you have an upcoming live series. Can you tell us about that?
Sure, sure. So if you visit my website at craigcooke.com, again, that's there's an E at the end of Cooke there, Cooke, craigcooke.com. You can actually get a couple things. You can get the first chapter of my book for free, and you can also get a free qigong exercise, which I'm sure we're going to be talking about what that's all about. And I do have my next qigong program that's a live 12-week online program coming up starting on June 16th, actually.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Craig. I'm Erica Gifford Mills, and you are listening to Get Rooted Radio, living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Imagine having a team of top-notch attorneys and identity protection experts right at your fingertips 24/7. That's the power of Legal Shield and ID Shield. Legal Shield gives you access to affordable legal services for everything from contracts to traffic tickets. And ID Shield protects your personal information, and it's monitored against identity theft with restoration support if anything goes wrong. Visit the link in the show notes of this episode for more information.
Rethinking your purpose in life? Become a certified hypnotherapist and regressionist today. Bryn Blankenship is a renowned certified master hypnotherapist, international instructor, and author. In addition to her own show, Afterlife Teacher, Soul Lessons Bringing You Full Circle, Bryn is a popular radio show guest who speaks about her soul expression spiritual regression, her transformative method for finding and following your soul's guidance. For more information on her hypnoregression and afterlife regression certification programs, visit brynblankenship.com.
What if your training isn't enough? The Multicultural Mindset Podcast invites counselors and therapists to unlearn the one-size-fits-all approach. This isn't cultural competence. It's a way of being that brings racialized experiences from the margins to the very center of care. Let's stop pathologizing Black pain and start challenging the system that created the bias in the first place. Visit newseasons.training to subscribe.
We remember a time when you could simply form a thought and it would manifest. The harmony was forgotten, but it is returning now. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia will take you on adventures through the heart and spirit, exploring who we once were and how to awaken that power today. Julia studied under the guidance of wolves, learning from their wisdom to master a higher frequency for new state of mind. Learn to master the secrets of manifestation. Visit onetrueself.com.
If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or in grief, I'm here to help. I'm Fei Lao, intuitive healer and founder of Fei Inspired Healing. Through soul-guided sessions, I help you reconnect with your body's wisdom and inner.
We're back on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Don't forget to visit getrootedradio.com to listen to a replay of this episode, sign up for helpful tips, and learn about upcoming events. That's getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Dr. Craig Cooke. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thanks, Erica. And again, I'm just having a great time talking with you.
So during the last segments, we discussed your journey in overcoming challenges and how those challenges can also be turned into opportunity. And during this segment, we're going to discuss the new chapter. So I referenced it a little bit during the first segment about your book, The Business of Kung Fu. But I want listeners to hear a little bit more about what is the concept of that and how does that book tie into your current work?
Sure. So Business Kung Fu, the underlying concept is how I apply the principles and teachings that I learned from studying Chinese Kung Fu and applied it to running my company. Now, the book is part of what I do today as part of living my purpose, which is really to create things that inspire and empower others to help them reach their what I call divine potential, right? So the book serves that purpose. Along with that, I serve as a business mentor, providing consulting and advisory and executive coaching services. But then I also tie in what I refer to as energetic practices into the executive coaching. But I also have that as a separate silo, the energy medicine, as some people refer to it as, and then also qigong is the primary modality that I've studied, which also originates from the Chinese culture. It's thousands of years old, and it's a extremely comprehensive system. And traditionally, there's three branches. There's martial qigong, medical qigong, and spiritual qigong. So I'm versed in all three, and it's a big part of what I do today. I have people that come just to see me for the energy work, from a medical qigong context, or spiritual, or both. And I'm doing that one-on-one energy work. But last year I started going from one-to-one to one-to-many. So I started teaching, right? Teaching people how to, what I say is three buckets of classification is healing, self-transformation, and energetic optimization. So sharing with people how to um, go through that, and I have students that are wanting to become healers as well. So I'm taking them down that path as well, and it's becoming really interesting for me, and I'm just having a great time with it.
Well, so I mentioned a little bit of it before we went to break, but tell folks about your offerings and who you serve, because I mean, I took your, and we were talking during break. So folks, we were talking during the break on how I took Craig's 12-week live series, and there were some weeks I couldn't make it. I watched the recording, but I also go back to rewatch things when I'm like, oh wait, I don't remember exactly how to do this. But I was a little stressed this prior to this weekend, and so I did one of the exercises, and it just calmed me, gave me energy, it gave me relaxation. And so I hate to say it's for everybody, but it really is. But tell folks a little bit more about your offerings and the types of individuals you serve.
Sure. So I work with a lot of professional people, and I think that's just because of my background. And the divine brings you who you should be working with.
Yeah.
And I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, executives, professional type people. I have a number of different people though outside of that, but that seems to be the primary audience that I've been serving just naturally. And I can relate really well to that audience because of my background as a professional businessman and entrepreneur, right? So it's a lot different that someone can take an esoteric concept or a subject matter, but communicate it in a very grounded and practical way, and how you can apply it to our daily lives. Because we live in the world where we have to survive with all our obligations and responsibilities, stress and pressures and demands, right? Of this world that we live in, as opposed to, say, a monk in a monastery. Yeah, right. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. That's one way. But there is also being in this world of our modern society and how to develop mastery in this world. And it's just as a legitimate path as that other path, right? So with so a lot of professional people I serve, and as far as the offerings go, there's the one-on-one energy work I do, but then there's the teachings that I do, which I'm very, very excited about. I'm really enjoying that. And like the exercise that we were talking about, that you referred back to and said, oh, let me use this tool. They come in really handy, these tools. And the exercise that we were talking about is called pulling down the heavens, which, interestingly enough, if I get a little technical with it, your show is Get Rooted Radio, right? So it actually roots the three bodies: the physical body, the energy body, and the spirit body. In Chinese medicine, those are the three bodies. And it actually roots the three bodies, meaning there's like a connection to the earth. And then there's also like a purification and cleansing of the three bodies. And because of the nature of how that exercise works, it actually hits the heart center And we have all these different emotions. And when I say emotions, I'm referring to more on the negative side, like I say, there's anger, or sadness, or worry, all these things. Well, the emotions of like nervousness and anxiety reside in the heart center. So when we're feeling that way, that particular exercise helps calm the heart center and purges the three bodies from that particular emotion. So it's really powerful. And that exercise in particular is available for free on my website, actually. People can download that and access it for free.
And I would highly suggest you go and do that. And what's that website again?
It is craigcooke.com with the E at the end of Cooke, Cooke. Craig with a C, not Greg, but Craig.
And
Yes.
it is that I'm telling you, listeners, it's easy, it's simple, it's not long, right? Sometimes people believe that you have to have like with meditation. Well, I don't do meditation. I don't have 2 hours. You can do a
Yeah.
2-minute meditation
Yeah.
and reap the benefits. So
Yeah.
definitely go out there to the site and get that because it's pulling down the heavens. It's amazing. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
So
thank you. And real quick too, some
yeah,
other for the people that maybe struggle with the 12-week program. I also have some pre-recorded courses that are available as well that people can purchase and just um, take in on their own time.
yeah. So this new chapter that you walked into, you know, you talked about overcoming challenges personally and professionally. How did this new chapter help you or maybe give you some new challenges?
Yeah, well, another big personal challenge that I faced around 2014 was I was just completely out of balance, just not myself. I'd always been pretty calm, cool, and collected, able to function amidst chaos, and that was thanks to my all of the martial arts training, right? But the problem was I was so 1,000% in on my business, and everybody else came first. I came last, which I could say I didn't even come into the picture because I was just always busy taking care of everything for everyone else. I went from a state of awesome health to a state of bad health. And part of that, it's all connected. The physical body, the energy body, and the spirit body that I mentioned earlier, it's all connected. And if one is suffering, it impacts the others, right? So with poor physical health came poor mental and emotional health that eventually like caught up to me. And there's also a physical component that we can talk about too. But I just wasn't myself. And then when I came across a medical qigong practitioner in 2014, and I started receiving the energy healing sessions from him like once a month for about 6 months. Suddenly, at the end of the 6 months, I just felt so much more balanced and centered and like myself again. And I was like, wow, this is great. And then that's when he actually asked me if I would be interested in doing that work. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And it just had such a profound impact on me, and it really equipped me. I really like the language you use too. Your three E's: equip, empower. What is that?
Enlightening.
Enlightening. Yes. So it was all three of those. Like I was getting equipped with tools, and it was empowering myself, and I was going through this transformation and spiritual growth and this awakening journey of enlightenment. And it was just such a profound impact. And I credit it a lot for equipping me with the ability to handle more and perform better and achieve higher levels of success.
And that's amazing. I mean, and ultimately that's what we all want, right? We want to be happy, healthy, and I say profitable. I don't just mean financially, materially, but in your health, in your relationships,
Yes.
And everything. And when you find that alignment, that balance, you can achieve those things.
Yes, you can. It's possible. It's
Yeah.
possible. And it's being centered and being able to balance because life continues to throw things at you and knock you out of balance. But the trick is like how quickly can you get back to center and be balanced again? And
Yes.
that's where the Qigong practice helps tremendously with that.
Yeah. And it's more than work-life balance, right? You know, my business name has balanced in it, but it's balance symmetry. And
Yes.
what I mean by that is that alignment. right?
Yeah.
You need to have that alignment, because if you're doing something, whether it's personal or professional, and it's not aligned with your beliefs, your values, your core self, it's not authentic to you, you're always going to feel that disconnect, that disconnection from yourself, right?
Yeah, 100%. And that'll knock you out of balance,
Yep.
over time. Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. Yeah, it's a beautiful way of putting it. Yes.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish out the show with The Road Ahead. This is
Okay.
Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Imagine having a team of top-notch attorneys and identity protection experts right at your fingertips 24/7. That's the power of Legal Shield and ID Shield. Legal Shield gives you access to affordable legal services for everything from contracts to traffic tickets. And ID Shield protects your personal information, and it's monitored against identity theft with restoration support if anything goes wrong. Visit the link in the show notes of this episode for more information.
Rethinking your purpose in life? Become a certified hypnotherapist and regressionist today. Bryn Blankenship is a renowned certified master hypnotherapist, international instructor, and author. In addition to her own show, Afterlife Teacher, Soul Lessons Bringing You Full Circle, Bryn is a popular radio show guest who speaks about her soul expression spiritual regression, her transformative method for finding and following your soul's guidance. For more information on her hypnoregression and afterlife regression certification programs, visit brynblankenship.com.
What if your training isn't enough? The Multicultural Mindset Podcast invites counselors and therapists to unlearn the one-size-fits-all approach. This isn't cultural competence. It's a way of being that brings racialized experiences from the margins to the very center of care. Let's stop pathologizing Black pain and start challenging the system that created the bias in the first place. Visit newseasons.training to subscribe.
We remember a time when you could simply form...
Welcome back to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. If you missed any of the information during the last segments, go to getrootedradio.com to listen to a replay. Don't forget to subscribe, sign up for tips, special events, and pricing for upcoming speaking and coaching sessions at getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Dr. Craig Cooke. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So during our last segments, we discussed your journey, how we can overcome challenges and
Yes.
turning those obstacles into successes and future opportunities, and the new chapter. And during this last segment, we're going to discuss the road ahead. But before we look forward, I want to take a step back and look in the rearview mirror, because I know you believe in the importance of self-care, and you have a story that I'd like listeners to hear.
Yes, yes. So I mentioned earlier how I was always like taking care of everybody else, and there was that mental emotional aspect, right? Well, it also caught up to me from a physical health standpoint. So in 2017, I believe, I discovered, like, first time I went to the doctor in like 10 years, and it's like, hey, you have diabetes. Like, what? And yeah, both my parents had it, but so not a surprise, just a surprise at how early onset it came. But it made perfect sense of all the symptoms that I was experiencing, and I wasn't taking care of myself. So I made that decision at that moment. All right, I already had started the qigong practice, and the doctor had said, oh, thankfully that I was doing that, because my numbers would have been a lot worse if I wasn't actually. But that wasn't everything. So I really made a lifestyle change to really prioritize my own self-care, and really getting active with strength training, walking, watching my diet, sleep, hydration, all these different things. And I was able to reverse that condition naturally, 100%, without any sort of drugs whatsoever. And, I'm still managing that today, but I make time to take care of myself. The Qigong practice is a big part of that, but it's just this complete lifestyle change. And I have a quote in my book that I created that, big full page. This quote says, be of service to self so you can be of service to others for a lifetime. And yeah, my message there is that, if you're not taking care of yourself, it's very noble that you're taking care of everybody, but it's going to eventually catch up to you. And, maybe you're able to do that for a couple of years or 5 years or 10 years, whatever, right? But then you burn out, you get compromised in your health and wellness, then you can't be of service. So what good is that? So going through this experience and learning the hard way, but now coming back out of it, and I feel like I did in my 20s. And I can be of service to people for the rest of my life. I know I can, based on the way I feel today. And so that's what it's about. It's about that sustainability, prioritizing your own self-care so you can continue to be of service.
Yeah, it's you can't pour from an empty cup.
That's right.
And when it's also about showing people that you deserve this sort of treatment, right? If you are always picking up the baggage from somebody else, what are you doing for yourself?
Yes,
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, so what is next for you?
Well, I like there's a lot going on, which is sometimes I question, like, oh man, what did I get myself into? I thought I was going to slow down a little bit. Now it seems I'm like just as busy. Because I have all these different things going on. I have the book, I'm trying to, get traction there with the book. And then there's the business mentorship. And then there's all the qigong, the energy medicine, and now the teaching. So I'm trusting in the divine and letting things happen. But it seems very exciting that there's, I'm starting to do more workshops, like live events. I was at the Mindfulness Expo at the Anaheim Convention Center last weekend, leading a workshop there in qigong, which was super cool. I have another event here in a few weeks, same type of thing. And I have another one in August that I'm doing qigong workshops. I also have the event in July. That's an author conference I'll be speaking at. So, there's the speaking engagements too. I had another one a couple months back. And so there's all these things, but yeah, it seems like there's this direction right now that's really very Qigong focused, and sharing that with through my classes, whether it's pre-recorded or the live programs, and then also the in-person workshops, which I'm going to be doing even more, and eventually probably some retreats as well. There's when my first instructor lives in Texas. He has a 100-acre ranch. I talked to him today, actually. He just keeps building it, and it's so awesome. And we want to do some retreats together. So that'll be coming up down the road. So there's just a lot. There's a lot for me to share and just keep going with this work. And I'm just not going to stop, because I'm really enjoying it.
Well, and it's so good, right? It's so good for you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I mean, I've loved everything that I've done with you and through you. It's been so inspiring and so good for me, right? Just personally,
Right.
because
Thank
when
you.
you can take care of yourself, then you can go further in your business and relationships, right? And I think that is so great. What are some of the dates of the things that you have coming up, like your 12-week course, and your other items that people can jump onto and be
Sure.
part of?
So my 12-week course, which is once a week live online, that starts on June 16th. You can go to craigcooke.com and see the class Qigong Foundations and get the information there. If you are interested, reach out to me, and I'll provide a special promo offer. Just tell me that you heard me on the Get Rooted show with Erica, and I'll make sure you get a discount for that. So that's that. Also, there's for anyone who's local to the Southern California area. I'm in Orange County in Southern California. There's an event coming up on June 6th that I'll be at all day, doing qigong workshops at this area in what's called the Great Park area in Orange County. And also in August, another event in Orange County, Costa Mesa, for the Awaken Magazine conference. I'll be leading Qigong in the morning as well there. That's towards the end of August. I think it's, probably the last weekend or second to last weekend in August. And I do have a master class coming up too online towards the end of this month, May 26th. It's free, and it's just to kind of get a little bit of kind of like what we're talking about today, and I get a little bit more detailed about Qigong in the program that I teach. So if anyone's interested in that, just shoot me a message and I'll get you the information.
Yeah. And you can be reached on LinkedIn, your website. Tell folks
Yes.
one last time where they can contact you to find out all this information and just reach out to you for some additional details.
Sure. So yes, linkedin.com/in/Craig Cooke. You can just search for Craig Cooke. I'm just like super easy to find. If you just Google Craig Cooke, I like pop up all over the place. So, but LinkedIn, if you message me there, I check that all the time. You go to my website, craigcooke.com. You can message me there, and there's all the links to all my different social channels. So, whatever is easy for you. Just if you message me on Instagram or Facebook, sometimes I'm a little slow on responding, but eventually I do respond. But LinkedIn and my website are the quickest ways they get to me.
Perfect. Thank you so much for all the information and for being on the show today.
Well, thank you, Erica. It was a true pleasure to be here and to see you again. And again, congratulations on all the amazing things you're doing.
Thank you, and you as well. And
Thank
I want
you.
to thank you all for tuning in to Get Rooted Radio. If you missed any part of today's episode or want to listen again, go to getrootedradio.com for the podcast. And don't forget to tune in the first and third Mondays of each month at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific right here on Transformation Talk Revolution. And as we close out today's episode, I want to remind you that you are worthy. If you are hurting or need help, please know the world needs you and it is a better place with you in it. Don't let the hard days win. Reach out for assistance. You can call, text, or chat the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline or text HOME, HOME, to 741-741 to reach a trained crisis counselor through Crisis Text Line. Both are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and are free. Thank you for tuning in. Have an amazing day, and I look forward to the next time on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, and letting it go. Visit getrootedradio.com if you've missed any part of this hit show, and tune in on transformationtalkradio.com to live fearlessly in your more and powerfully rooted in your unlimited yes. For more information and to work with Erica directly, visit getrootedradio.com. That's getrootedradio.com, and get ready to live it up, love it up, and let it go.